She is a stage 5 clinger. But I love it. But I love it. You're adorable. But I'm gonna need you to get down. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley, and as you can tell from the title of this video, we are attempting a reading vlog. This will be my first ever reading vlog, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, but I'm a little bit rusty with the YouTube thing, so just bear with me. It is currently Friday, September 5th, and my goal for this weekend and for this video is to finish my current reads before the release of Wildcard by Elsie, which is happening on Tuesday, September 9th. So yeah, ideally I would like to be wrapped up with my 2 current reads, because the minute that Wildcard hits my Kindle, I will be unavailable for the foreseeable future. I'm so excited for this release. I've also just been working on these 2 books for way too long now, it feels, and it's just time to finish them up. I actually started both of these back in July. The summer was very difficult for me. Unfortunately, I had to put my soul dog down at the beginning of August. He was the dog I got in my mid-20s, and he was with me through the last 9 years of my life, and I miss him so much. It was the most heartbreaking, devastating thing I had to go through in a long time. His symptoms started in mid-June. We found out beginning of July that he had a brain tumor, and it was the beginning of August that we had to say goodbye. It happened very suddenly and it progressed very quickly, and needless to say, I just could not focus on anything. I felt like I had a million books on the go, and these are the last 2 that I need to finish up. Anyways, I could literally ramble on forever about life updates, but that is not why we're here. So, the 2 books I am currently reading are City of Smoke and Brimstone by Kayla and The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. So I've kind of been bouncing back and forth between these depending on my mood and what I'm doing. So City of Smoke and Brimstone by Kayla. Now, this is book 4 in the series, so I feel like there's not a whole lot that I can say about it without spoiling what happens in the first 3 books, so I won't really talk too much about the plot or what's going on in this book, but I will say this is an urban fantasy romance, meaning it takes place in a modern day urban setting, in this case a city, but there are still magical elements and supernatural beings. So most of our main characters are Darkslayers. They all belong to different houses, so there's so many supernatural beings. There's werewolves, witches, vampires, hellsayers. However, our FMC, Loren, she is a human. Then we have Darien Castle, our MMC. So many people have named Darien Castle as one of their top book boyfriends. I, however, am more of a Roman Devlin kind of gal. Roman is Darien's cousin. He's not introduced until the 2nd book, so just saying. But back to Darien Castle, because he is the main MMC in the first book. He is a hellsayer, but he's also a bounty hunter, and he's basically hired to find Loren. And the story just kind of evolves from there, and it follows their group of friends and just their chaotic adventures. It's fast-paced, it's action-packed, but there's also kind of a dark atmospheric mood to it as well. I love this series. This is the first urban fantasy I've ever read, and I'm hooked. Right now, I'm currently on chapter 86. I'm 72% of the way through this book. Ideally, it shouldn't take me too much longer to get through what we have left, which is just this. So I gotta get reading. I kind of bounce back and forth between reading it on my Kindle and the physical copy as well, so just depending on my mood or where I am. At nighttime, I'm almost always reading on my Kindle, so. I am stressed. Now that we're 4 books into this series, I feel these characters are my friends and I'm stressed. I need to know what's gonna happen. The next book I'm currently currently in the middle of is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. She is a Canadian author, which we love to see. So this is a new adult fantasy romance. It's marketed as enemies to lover, but it's in the sense that their kingdoms are enemies. Like the FMC and the MMC don't really act like enemies towards each other at any point. This is book 1 in a series. I didn't mean to start another series, but it happened. Currently there are 5 books out in the series, with the 6th and final installment due to come out in 2026, so that's exciting. By the time I get to book 6, I'm sure the series will be finished. I have been listening to this on Audible as well as immersion reading with the physical copy. I love doing that because it just helps me focus so much, and it actually makes it feel even more like a movie playing inside my head, especially when you get a good audiobook, which this one is. So the story is dual POV, which I love. It's my favorite thing ever, but also the narration is like dual narration. So the FMC has her own narrator and the MMC has his own as well. So this takes place in a really cool setting. You can kind of think like lush green jungle, deep blue seas. And the easiest way to explain it is with using the map. Essentially you have the 2 continents, so there's one way up here, there's one way down here, and then in the middle between the 2 there is the bridge. This bridge that separates the continents is used for trade between the 2 kingdoms, I guess. However, Ithacana is in power on the bridge, and they're kind of profiting on the trades and just like not playing fair. So they're kind of enemies to, especially these guys down here. I don't know how the other continent feels about it, but definitely the King of Meridrina is like, this is not okay. So our FMC, Lara, she's a warrior princess from down here in Meridrina. She's basically trained all her life, and she's sent away by her father, the King of Meridrina, to Ithacana. She's sent to be a bride, their enemy essentially, as a peace offering. Ithacana wants to become allies with Meridrina. However, Lara's dad, the King of Meridrina, does not have any interest in being allies with them, and he's actually sending her to infiltrate the kingdom so they can eventually take over. So the story takes off from there. I'm really loving the story. Right now I'm about 245 pages in. I'm on chapter 24. And I love where the story is going. I'm excited to see how this is going to wrap up. Every time it's like you want to be the star of the show. And there's Zoe. Hi, good girl. I guess I can introduce you to the doggos. This is Zoe. This one here, Zoe. So when my boyfriend and I got together, we each had a dog. Zoe is his dog. She's my baby. And she turned 10 this year. So she's our old girl. And then we've got Millie back here, who we added to the mix last year. She's our pup. She is just over a year old. She turned 1 in May. So yeah, those are the dogs. It's Tuesday, September 9th. It's 7:33 in the morning. I just finished getting ready for work. I have to leave in like 25 minutes. I wanted to sit down and give you some quick updates. I was also watching Ellen Catherine's most recent video. I've started watching her recently and I really like her. But yeah, I was watching that while I was getting ready. Also, I want to point out, we added these 2 like shelving units to the living room, and now I'm just like, oh my god, what do I do to style them? Because I'm such a perfectionist. So this is like a work in progress. Eventually these shelves will be styled. I can't decide, like, do I want to do books? Do I want to just do like shelf styling? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't quite figured that out yet. So ignore the empty shelves. Anyways, Tuesday, September 9th. You know what that means. Wildcard immediately downloaded this morning. I already read the first chapter and I'm already hooked. So, needless to say, this is going to be my main focus, like I said, for the foreseeable future. So, I mean, this vlog isn't necessarily about this book, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, But I do think I want to continue a reading vlog while reading this, so keep an eye out for that. That being said, the reason we're here, updates for my current reads. I finished The Bridge Kingdom last night by Danielle Jensen. I've not really figured out my own rating system. I feel like I've been reading consistently now for over a year, and I don't know why. Please tell me if you can relate to this, but I have such a hard time giving every book a rating. I don't know why. So I was thinking about this really hard, and I was like, while I was reading this, I was really enjoying it. I was having fun. I was like, okay, this is probably like 4-star vibes. The second half of the book, it just continued to get better and better. The ending, the plot twist, didn't see them coming, and I have to say, I really enjoyed the ending of this book. So definitely like not a 5-star, because I feel like for me, a 5-star, I need to have that feeling through the entire book. That only seems fair. I'm an overthinker, can you tell? So I'm thinking this is gonna land more around like a 4.25, 4.5. I have to sit with it still. This got really good, and let me see, what notes did I have? The way that it ended, I wasn't expecting it at all, and I definitely am excited for book 2. I will be adding that to my TBR probably sometime soon, hopefully, because I don't want to forget the plot. I just want to pull up my Notion and see what my notes were about this. Yeah, pretty much everything I've already said. I highly recommend this series if you haven't started it already. This was so fun. I was not expecting it to end the way it did, and I really enjoyed it. That being said, I still have to finish. I don't have it with me here. Let me go get it. Actually, I have it on my Kindle here. This is probably more accurate anyways. I think I've updated my spot in my physical book in a while, so I'm 82% of the way through City of Smoke and Brimstone. I will definitely be finishing this, and I will come back with my thoughts. But it was a failure, but that's okay, because this is book 4 and I'm like most of the way through it. I'm so familiar with what's going on in all these characters that I'm not too worried about picking up another book and reading it first and kind of pausing this until I finish Wildcard. So that's the plan, but I will be back with my final thoughts on this. And then, yeah, like I said, I do plan on filming another reading vlog including Wildcard, so keep your eyes out for that. I am gonna play with this pup for a couple minutes before we have to go. I'm starting earlier today than I typically would, so I'm kind of in a rush. Just crazy. Anyways, I will catch up with you guys in a little bit. Actually not going to do a separate video for Wildside. I think I'm going to include it in this video. I did start it on Tuesday. Like I said, my physical copy came in yesterday, which is super exciting. I'm currently on chapter 31, page 307, so we're nearing the end. I have today off of work, so my only plans today are reading my books. This is what I have left of City of Smoke and Brimstone as well, so I think if I just, sit down, log in, I should be able to finish both of these books today and wrap up this reading vlog. I know I haven't talked about this a whole lot, but I'll save that for the end when we wrap everything up. For now, I'm just gonna read. Texture, I think. So I've been just trying to embrace the natural hair. I will say my hair has grown so much. I do still use heat from a diffuser. I will still diffuse my hair most mornings just because I cannot wait for it to air dry. It takes way too long. Again, literally not why you're here, but I had to address this. So it's now Monday, September 15th. It's time for me to wrap this up. I just finished getting ready for work. Again, I have to leave in 25 minutes, but I wanted to sit down and do a quick wrap up of the books that I read. I have officially finished all 3 of these books, and actually all 3 of these, great reading experience. It did take me way too long to get through City of Smoke and Brimstone and The Bridge Kingdom, and then Wildcard just came out last Tuesday, and I've already finished it. This was perfection. Let me just quickly go over all of these. I feel like this reading vlog was a little bit chaotic. I feel like in most people's reading vlogs, they read one book at a time. I just don't have it in me. My brain just needs like different things, or else I get like bored almost. Does that make sense? So I kind of like bounce back and forth between a couple different books. Starting with The Bridge Kingdom really quick because I basically already gave like my final thoughts and reviews on this book. This was 4.25. I was a little lost in the beginning, just kind of like, I understood what was happening, but I'm like, where is this going? As I mentioned before, the book just continued to get better and better. This is also book one in like a 6-book series, so I mean the story's only going to grow from here. The second half of the book was so good, so I landed on a 4.25 for The Bridge Kingdom. Definitely recommend this. I would say like if you're new to fantasy romance, you'll probably really enjoy this, but I think it's definitely worth the read. After that, City of Smoke and Brimstone, Kayla Edwards, she will destroy you. I'm telling you, if you haven't read this series, I highly recommend this. Again, book 4 in, I think it's guaranteed 5 books and a strong potential for a 6 is what I heard. And then I also heard that she wants to write a prequel to this series, so that's all very cool. The last update I gave was that I was stressed. I'm still stressed. I'm still stressed. That's the thing about Kayla Edwards. Her books will leave you feeling stressed and wanting more. I think I'm gonna settle on a 4 for this one. Will I change my mind by tomorrow? Possibly. I literally have no idea what I'm doing as far as my ratings go. It stresses me out. I don't know why. Why am I like this? I don't know. 4 stars. Highly recommend picking up this series if you haven't already. They are very long. And yes, although it did take me a very long time to get through this book, that was more on me, not the length of the book. Especially if you read them on Kindle, you don't really notice how big they are. The fact that I've read all 4 of these books this year is like impressive to me. I can't lie. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with this series, and I strongly encourage you to read it. Oh, one thing I did want to like mention about this, a couple of things that I really like about this series that's just like unimportant, I guess. They have these little creatures called hobs, and they live on top of the fridge usually because they live off of ice chips. They're so cute. There's 2 in this series. One's name is Mortifer and the other is Itzel. They're the cutest things I was gonna say I've ever seen, but I've never actually seen them, but I love reading about them in here. They're so cute. And then also each character has a familiar, which is like an animal, I was gonna say counterpart, I don't know if that's the right word, but they're like a spirit or like a ghost. Darian has a dog named Bandit who is his shadow. Roman has like a little dragon, and yeah, they each have like their own different little animal that's like a familiar to them. I just love that. I love animals in books. I just love animals. And moving on to the last book in this reading vlog, Wild Card by Elsie Silver. This was the energy that I was needing last week. I don't know if it was a book slump. I don't know if I was just like burned out from all the fantasy I had been reading. This just felt so perfect. This is the 4th and final installment in the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver, which the Rose Hill series are all small town, single dad romance. This one is ex-boyfriend's dad, and I don't know why, I don't know what this says about me, but I was so excited for this trope. It's the first time I've ever read ex-boyfriend's dad, and I feel like Elsie did it so well. Now, this is the first series of hers that I've read. I haven't read the Chestnut Spring series yet. I've read book 1, but it was like 2 years ago now, but I'm gonna go and read Chestnut Springs eventually. There's so many books that I want to read, but that is on my radar, of course. Everyone says that they love Chestnut Springs more than Rose Hill, so I'm kind of excited about that, but that makes me a little bit nervous too, because when I hype something up in my brain, I'm usually let down. So I hope that doesn't happen with Chestnut Springs, because I really liked Rose Hill, and if people like Chestnut Springs better, we'll have to see. This, I have a hard time rating all the books in the Rose Hill series, but this is definitely up there. I would probably say this was my favorite one. Fighting for second, it would be between, oh, this is hard, between Wild Side and Wild Love. And I say those two are like, well, I liked them both so much. I don't know if I can pick between Wild Love and Wild Side, but they're right under this. And then Wild Eyes. Everyone says Wild Eyes was your favorite. I don't know if I'm a golden retriever kind of gal, but Sebastian, Gwen, ex-boyfriend's dad, small town. He is an aerial firefighter, and Gwen is a yoga instructor. And actually what I really loved about these two characters, Gwen was just like so free-spirited and strong-willed. She grew up with like a really strict military dad, but she decided to follow her dreams, which I love for her. And you know what? The dedication says it all for the ones who were told their dreams were too dreamy, but who went on to make them come true anyway. That hits hard for me right now because I feel like I'm going through that in ways I can't even talk about. And then Elsie goes on to say, and for my awful high school English teacher, Mr. C, who looked me in the eye at 16 years old and told me I'd never be a good writer. Thanks for the motivation. Tell him, Elsie. I really love that aspect of the story. and I felt like I could relate to Gwen and Colin Bash for so many different reasons. They both have this like deep-seated fear of rejection, which I can relate to, and that's something I've dealt with my entire life. And as I've gotten older, it's something I've become more aware of, but I loved the representation in here because I just felt so seen, and I love feeling seen when I'm reading. I don't think I've said it yet. This was 5 stars for me. I loved this. Like I said, it was exactly what I needed at the time. It wasn't like earth-shattering or anything, but please read the Rose Hill series if you're into small town romance at all. Anyways, that wraps up this week's reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts, either down in the comments, or you can go follow me on my Bookstagram. I'll have that linked down below. Send me a DM. Let's chat. I would love nothing more. Also, okay, side note, I love all the purple. Like, I don't know what it is with purple right now, but there's a lot of purple going on, and I'm here for it. Do yourself a favor, pick up one of these books. I hope you're having the best day ever, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.